welcome to Firefall Live. This is the very first show. We want to try to do a weekly show where we bring you guys the community news, a little behind the scenes on what's going on at Red 5 Studios, what's happening in Firefall. Highlight some of the cool conversations that you guys are having and some of the cool stuff you guys have made for us, because there's a good community out there that's making some great stuff. I'm Phobos, the community manager. I'm joined here by Faded Pez and Tony Ray.
Hello.
AKA The Cheese, Team Sweat Rag. Woo woo. So right now in the office, we're working on the next milestone. So we've been working on that for quite a while, including some new PvE content. We've released one patch so far of that content, so kind of just a taste a little bit, some of the back end stuff that we need in order to implement the next iteration. So that we broke the milestone into 3 separate patches for those of you guys that haven't been paying attention. We've released one already. We hope to release another one soon. Knock on wood. That comes out. Oh, thanks. Sorry. You're a little delayed.
I haven't had enough of this coffee yet.
We choreographed this last night.
I'm sorry, I said.
So, we have the second patch coming out for that soon. We've got some really cool stuff in there. Today we're going to bring on Clancy, aka Dragon. You guys may know him from the Team Complexity matches where he dominated. I'm saying when they played against Team Complexity.
Those the Team Midair matches.
Whatever.
Can't we just love each other?
No, not anymore.
That's all I want.
Huh? Not in esports.
Not in esports.
All right. Okay.
Esports is serious business.
All right.
I mean, like.
Well, fine. I hate all of you then.
Now you're getting the competitive spirit.
So we'll bring Clancy on. He's been working on the Chosen Warfront, so we'll talk to him a little bit, get to know him as a person. But for now, let's talk about some community news. So the milestone patch is coming out. We've got beta weekends coming up.
Pretty cool.
So first weekend's this weekend, starting at 7 o'clock tonight.
What's the goal for this weekend?
Really try to stress the server. So we invited,
break some stuff.
Almost 100,000 people into this beta.
Wow.
Just for the weekend.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a huge group. So we're hoping that they'll all join us for the weekend, help stress test the servers. The operations team is flipping their lid because they're trying to get everything set up.
Good.
So
someone's working weekends.
Yeah.
Not me.
Our Rangers are on duty and operations on duty. I'll be playing. I don't know about you guys. So that's happening this weekend. We've also got another one scheduled for 2 weeks from now. So we're going to try to increase that group even more and try to focus a little bit. I think we're going to focus a European group on that one. So the times will be a little bit different, and we'll work with European partners to get that out there.
Sweet.
So that'll be pretty crazy. And then we've got a third one. But they're all invite only. So we're inviting a group of people, but there'll be multiple ways to get keys in order to join for that.
It's opt-in, right?
It's for what?
To get into the beta weekends, it's opt-in. So
well, but just by registering for the beta, you're opting in. And then when we work with partners, they'll be able to go to their sites and pull a key from them and come back to us. The founders, but if you want to get into the beta right now, obviously you can buy a founders pack.
That's right.
We started at Firefall Fest. As soon as you buy a founders pack, you get immediate access. So you can still jump into the game with that. And
a few of my friends have done that, actually, like that I know just in my personal life. They saw some of the videos that I posted, and they were like, that game looks amazing. So they bought some founder packs. It's kind of cool.
So you have friends that have a PC at home, but you're still sitting with a Mac.
I don't understand why you got to air out my dirty laundry.
Tony is afraid of PC computers?
I am not afraid of PC computers.
I like the fact that we both said PC computers, even though PC is a personal computer.
Yeah. It's very
ATM machines.
I'm not afraid of personal computers.
Personal little hell.
Pretty much. I'm late. I'm a late bloomer, people. Okay, I didn't know about the whole thing.
Until I was 25.
Exactly. So it's been an awkward year for me. Going through a lot of changes.
Why don't you have a PC?
Okay, because let's go back. It started when I was 5 years old, and I was like, oh, N64, that looks amazing. And then I graduated to the Xbox, and I was like, oh, I need the Xbox 360. And then I was like, oh my God, this is Call of Duty, the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm just gonna play this forever.
And then N64. Did you have GoldenEye?
Of course I did. Paintball mode?
And you said Call of Duty was the best thing you ever said? You ever seen me play?
Dude, okay. Oh my God. Okay, GoldenEye was amazing, but I'm just saying I got really, really into Call of Duty. I was all about Xbox Live.
Which one? Modern Warfare?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's
fair enough. Well, yeah.
3 before that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. So I got really into that, and then I didn't know about PC gaming. I kind of like knew it existed, and it was always like, why would anybody play a PC? Like, I'm on a keyboard and a mouse. But now, I love it. Like, now I'm like, oh my God, I haven't touched my Xbox since I started working here. Like, I really haven't. And it's just...
You haven't even picked up Halo?
Huh? No, I haven't. I haven't done it, man. I don't know. Well, now you're mad that I don't play. Jeez, there's no winning with you.
Nope. No, I'm mad that you don't have a PC that's capable of playing games.
You're causing me to sweat. It's like 50 degrees in here because of the rain, and I'm already sweating because of these harassments and judgments of my character.
50 degrees isn't hot.
That's why he's saying it's cold in here.
That's the point, Frank.
He's sweating.
I'm working on degree humor right now. You know, you got to step up your calculus.
Okay. Anyways, what other news pieces do we have?
So we got another chosen collusion.
That's right.
So we had one earlier where
Next Friday, right?
Next Friday, yeah. We had one earlier where we actually, the community worked with the community team in Dragon, who's Clancy's going to be here. And that was pretty fun. I think the entire takeover took about 7 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It's
amazing what happens when you guys focus.
Yeah. We let the chosen take over the entire server, save Copa, and then everyone pushed it all back in about 7 minutes. So it was great. We got a lot of good feedback. We hope to get a lot of good, valuable feedback out of this one too. So that'll be fun. We also have the Brontodon Brawl coming up.
Yeah.
Right after, the day after. You can check out details on brontodon.com/brawl.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So there's a lot of new teams coming up. There's a lot of people that are taking it a little more seriously now, and so we'll see what happens with that.
And we had the Limelight Tier 2 one. And
yeah, that happened last week, right?
Yeah, and Triple Threat came away the victors.
And that's Tilter and...
Tilter, Zoid, Blazing for the rest of the team.
Oh no, sorry guys.
Sorry guys.
We're going to get some angry tweets.
Yeah, exactly.
From Mr. Zoid.
I can't believe you forgot
Alpha Male or Bob. Alpha Male Bob. We're sorry. I don't know where to look. I'm just going to look at every single one of these cameras.
I think both of those are facing you guys. And
Okay,
that's
perfect.
The only one
No, I'm just going to go back and forth.
That one's facing all of us.
Good.
It's going to be like a lizard in the desert. Just like...
You don't have the tongue out. There you go.
That's a terrible freeze frame. Damn it! That is so going on that thread.
Oh, it's going to be the highlight reel.
Yeah.
That's just Tony.
This just...
Acting like a lizard.
Okay. The things I do.
So Limelight Esports ran a Tier 2 tournament. I think Brontodon Brawl is Tier 2 or Tier 1?
They're doing Tier 2 as well, but they're allowing Tier 1.
Well, why would you want to use Tier 1?
In case you don't have a Tier 2 biotech.
Oh, okay. But
and you want to switch to biotech on the fly. You know.
Oh, yeah. Good luck. Okay.
We have something I'll tie into that a little later. But yeah, those are our major events going on right now in the community. In the near future, we also have other stuff.
Yeah, there's more stuff coming down the line. But if you guys do have events that you're running or anything that you guys want us to talk about, feel free to let us know. Send it to community@red5studios.com. We'll take a look at it and see what's going on. Happy to see you guys doing this on your own. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, we don't have to do crap.
That's the other thing, real quick, that like I didn't know happened because I was coming from an Xbox world where like all this stuff was like done for us and it was just kind of there and like, but like in PC it's so cool to see communities working together and like everyone like creating these own competitions and things like that. Like that's really cool. I didn't even know that happened. So like getting from an outsider's perspective is kind of cool. All right, that's fine. Just shake your head. Don't acknowledge me.
It's
so weird listening to someone. You know, I've been PC gaming since like 1988. And
wow, I was just born.
I'm hearing you.
Congratulations.
Like, oh, PC gamers. Man, what it must be like to not understand how things work. Ignorance is bliss.
You know, I said I'm sorry. I'm a late bloomer. I'm on your side now. What more do you want from me?
Everything.
Whoa. That took a turn. This is private. We need to talk about that, maybe with the HR rep. That's all I'm saying.
We don't have HR.
Damn it.
We don't really have HR.
Oh, God. I'm just gonna
screwed.
I'm going to be screwed.
Literally.
Duh. What are we doing here? Come on, people.
I meant that in the figuratively sense.
You said literally.
Which means figuratively now.
Oh, God. Oh, what's going on here?
What else news pieces do we have, Frank?
Well, we're also we have a few talking points that we're going to be covering a little later because we just released our creature feature.
Yeah.
Or we started that last week.
Yeah.
With the Brontodon, and this week we did the feral canine, and we actually put that to vote.
So that's the thing is like internally when we name creatures, we kind of the writers just name them. But whenever we have one that we can't agree on, right, that we want to kind of involve you guys in what's going on, see if you guys want have a name that you like best. Obviously, if we went for write-ins, there would be millions of names and nobody would agree on anything.
Yeah.
But we wanted to limit it down to whatever the writers were arguing about, and then get that out there to see if you guys have a name you want. I think right now Wargrim.
By a landslide.
Landslide's not here right now.
He's not.
He's back of the office interning.
I was watching him stream War Z last night.
Was he really?
Yeah. Him with Ben.
Man, he's so bad at games. Oh, he's probably watching.
Oh, whatever. They got ganked pretty hard. It was hysterical.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Wargrim. It's just fun to say in different accents.
Keep adding
Hey,
different.
Wargrim. Just like if you like a Wargrim came and ate your baby, and you're just like reminded of it like 30 years later. Yeah. Oh, Wargrim ate my baby. Excuse me, miss. Wargrim ate your baby.
It's what happened in Australia, and you just added like a London accent.
We're doing it national. The Wargrims have escaped Australia and have moved north.
Right.
I think not good with geography. So continue on.
Pip, pip.
Gotta work on the geography.
Yeah, we're gonna get a map in here. We're gonna get a world map for Tony right off to the side. So
Especially since Firefall takes place in Brazil.
Well, people bring that up a lot too. Is that Firefall takes place in Brazil, but there's all these other cultures in there. I think some people have even mentioned that it's sort of like a little America. But it's like that's how it is in Firefall, sort of like
a little
Well,
America.
let's not,
I want to live in America, in America. That's what that. Okay.
Wow.
No, sorry, damn it. I just keep doing that.
I can't wait till we get Clancy on here.
Wow. I can hear you, Frank.
What I think you're trying to say is
I'm
like
sorry.
You're not talking through your communicator. Remember, they're not working. So thanks.
I think what you're trying to say is it's a melting pot of different cultures that
Yes.
After the Firefall event happened, the world got devastated and people kind of consolidated in different areas and they got mixed up and things happened. And, for those of you that have read the lore, Fort Eliza was actually the location of the orbital tether that was used to help build the Arclight. And so it makes sense that would be a multinational area. And so there's a lot, you'll see signs in Chinese and Korean. You'll hear names that are in Portuguese or English or... So
You'll have Ratchet that's Australian.
Not according to our Australian fans.
The voice was done by a real Australian.
Exactly. That's what I love. She sounds too Australian. No.
What?
What are you doing, Noah?
No, it's just adjusting.
He was trying so hard to be inconspicuous over there, and you're like calling him out.
We're live. No.
Hey, cameraman, what are you doing?
They're just playing with our cameras. They're like, whatever. We're just gonna move stuff. We went from like real professional Firefall Fest to this.
To talking about what you're going to do to me later. And
moving on from that conversation, maybe it's time we do bring Clancy on and have a little conversation with Clancy instead of Tony.
That's fine.
I'll miss you.
No, you won't.
Go
You're right.
sweat something.
I'll go sweat. I'm not afraid of it.
I am.
I don't appreciate this type of candor or...
You don't appreciate candor? Get off.
All right.
Let's get Clancy on here.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God. Oh,
breaking everything. Oh, my God.
This is why we can't have nice
Look at
things.
you know what?
It's
I'm not even
disappointed
fixing
in
it. I'm keeping it like this the rest of the show.
Good. Clancy, please join us. Let's give him a hand. Yeah, Clancy. Woo! Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have
Love
you.
the shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, wearing your Team Midair shirt.
Yeah.
Please sit. So, Team Midair, tell us a little bit about that because you're wearing the shirt. Can you actually stand up, turn around? Because I don't think people saw the back with the wings.
Yeah. So midair, for those that haven't played too much Firefall, midair just means like being able to shoot somebody out of midair, and you get really cool aerial battles in the game when doing PvP. So being that I play Assault a lot, I get the nice plasma shots that connect with people in midair. I get lucky often.
So were you the one that named the dev team then?
It was Booster and I.
Booster.
Yeah, so we were just brainstorming ideas of what the team could be. So we're like, well, obviously it's midair.
And obviously she made the shirt because it's all pink and sparkly.
That was actually kind of my idea too.
Nice.
We're proud.
Look fabulous while PvPing.
So Clancy, first let's tell me a little bit about yourself. You play by the name Dragon
Yes.
in game, and you play it quite often. Actually,
Yes.
a lot of people notice you. But how did you get your start? How did you get into the industry? Who are you as a person?
So as a person, I grew up playing games. Like my earliest memory was a cousin of mine when I was 3 years old. He brought over a Sega Master System, and with playing Wonder Boy, and obviously my little 3-year-old self fell in love with the game, and I soon got a Nintendo for Christmas. And ever since, I've been like having friends over or playing by myself with Mario Brothers and all on up. So I played all the pretty hardcore 8-bit games, Ninja Gaiden, Kid Icarus, Mega Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, and all that kind of stuff. So I got into PC gaming when I was about 7 or 8.
See, Tony? See?
With Castle Wolfenstein, or Wolf 3D. And my love for shooters started from there.
Yeah.
And it's just continued on and on and on.
So, real quick, what do you do at Red 5? What is your title? What is your focus?
So I'm a game designer at Red 5. When I'm not PvPing, I actually do work on the game. I'm working on the Chosen Warfront right now, and I have experience in the industry doing a lot of level design work on MMO products in general. And even on my free time, I like doing community mapping for games. So I've made maps for Portal and Portal 2 just for fun, to give back to the community.
Anything people might know about?
Yes, on the Steam Workshop, if you go to the top-rated maps, you'll find a map called QB. That's one that I did, and it's probably one of my best work, I would say. And I learned a lot going through the process, and I think it's really important for designers to go back and do something away from work that's not necessarily related, so they can bring back new knowledge.
Yeah. And that's a totally different tool set than us. I mean, it's
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes, it's Hammer.
So and our Forge system is completely different than Hammer.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's good. As you get more experience in doing level design, you'll notice like each engine and each tool set has its strengths and weaknesses. So, and ours is we can make really awesome terrain work. I haven't seen an engine that can do terrain quite like ours, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So how did you get into the industry?
I've always wanted to break in, so it was figuring out like what kind of way I wanted to do. So my trip was a little weird.
Yeah.
I started out wanting to do programming, thinking that I wanted to be a programmer, and I was doing well in computer science, but coding just didn't jive with me. I didn't really feel it. I'm a little bit more of a creative person, so I really appreciated the knowledge that I learned.
Yeah.
Because knowing the logic helps a lot for scripting and doing a lot of the back end stuff that the players don't see and making things work. But I wanted to create player experiences, whether it's game mechanics or level design, which is ultimately like kind of what I really got into. So I changed my major to business management and marketing, which
Wow,
it doesn't
quite the shift.
right. It doesn't quite make sense at first, but actually, my marketing degree I think I use more than my grad school stuff that focused on games.
Interesting. The sociology aspect, or
It's more of like coming together as a team, viewing things from different angles, being creative about what you're doing, and knowing your audience. For me, I'm a very player-driven designer, and I want to know what my players are thinking. What am I as a player thinking? So marketing is all about that. It's about knowing your audience, and whenever there's a marketing team in the office, I love associating with them and getting to understand like who are the players that they're trying to reach to. Are they resending the right message? And it's always fun to see all those kind of angles.
yeah. Okay. So how did that lead into, what was your first job? How did you?
Right. So I eventually went to do grad school stuff for game and level design, and got me.
There's a graduate program for game and level
So
design.
I went to the guild hall, and the guild hall, while it was like it taught me the technical side of how to use editors and things like that. All of us really needed to step up our game coming out of the design curriculum, because there were some holes there, and several of us got together on the side all the time to deconstruct games, looking about what's fun. We needed to know more than just like making things technically. We need to know what makes them fun and why. And so we were playing a lot of Quake 3. We were looking at good maps like Blood Run, Pro DM6, and things like that. So that was very important for us, and keep pushing ourselves, which eventually that's kind of what started me doing community maps even after I got a job. So my first job after grad school was starting at SOE Seattle, working on the agency, which was a shooter MMO. So, that was really good training for me, getting exposed for the first time, learning what a dev environment is like. A lot of things to learn that didn't do too well, but others that did do well.
Right.
But ultimately, like in the game industry, you go to quite a few studios before you find a home.
Right.
Right. So eventually I'm here. Funny story.
Yeah, you said offset that you had applied to Red 5 first.
That's right. So when I first tried to break into the industry, I got pretty far in the interview process with Red 5 4 years ago. So it was actually a lot of fun going through the process. And I talked to Scott, Tom Cadwell when he was doing consulting here.
Okay, so this was when Tom was
It was like a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had improved a lot since then. So I got very close, but there wasn't enough spots. So
Right.
there's only so much you can do. So 4 years later, I was at 38 Studios at the time when that went under. So
Man,
Red 5.
Agency 38.
Yeah,
You're just,
it's a rough road. It's a bumpy road.
all right, we're going to have to let you go because.
Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding.
Too soon.
Now, well, that's another important reason why you need to do things as a designer on the side.
Right.
Is you need to keep getting better. You need to have something to show if something doesn't ship. And
So
you
that's
need
a
to cover your bases.
great question for people trying to get into game design, since a lot of gamers want to get into game design. We all think we have the best ideas, and the thing, it's one thing to have an idea, right?
Look at me laugh.
No, I mean we all do think we have the best
Yep,
ideas.
we do.
And it's one thing to have an idea and have a story and have the idea for the game, but how does a game designer prove that they have the design chops? What are the things that they need to focus on in order to break into the industry or make something to prove themselves?
Figuring out why a certain game does what it does very well, and being able to deliver that to players. Like it's all about, at the end of the day, it's about the players. Nothing else matters at the end. They matter. They're the ones that let you know whether or not you're on track.
Yeah.
So what's important is having a process when you're designing that incorporates them. So anybody can pick up and learn an editor pretty quickly. And there's a lot of great editors out there, Hammer, Portal's Puzzle Creator, Unreal, all have awesome tools and stuff. And there's also really good communities that follow those games and level design communities out there that you can learn the technical skills.
Yeah.
But to become a good designer is to embrace the mechanics, make a space that brings out the best of those mechanics, minimizes the worst of the mechanics, and you have the players play test it, let you know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, or if it's like, don't touch this, this is great.
Right.
So
How often does that happen?
a lot.
That is.
You can always improve.
Yeah.
So when I went through and did a good example is when I did my last Portal 2 map. I incorporated players after every kind of chamber was ready to go, and I must have watched over 100 first plays videos of chambers as I was going through. So the map, I didn't consider it fully done, and I released it for a contest, but I still was always watching those videos over and over and over and over again, each one, to make sure what was this first experience like going through this chamber. And we have to incorporate that. So when we did the community event last week for the Chosen Warfront, Fluffy Death and the Stalking Wolf were both very proactive in communicating with me about getting this thing set up. I mean, this was a fantastic opportunity for us, and something that I think the biggest thing that we learned, or at least that I learned coming out of it, wasn't necessarily what's going on in the Chosen Warfront. That's obviously very useful. It's what can we do as a company to do these more often, more efficiently, and essentially doing bigger tests involving our players. Because a lot of things that we need to test require more numbers and require our actual player base.
Right.
We can't necessarily do these 60+ man tests in the office. And we also need to be proactive in communicating with our community and getting our players in there, seeing the new stuff. So
Nah,
it's
they
win-win.
they don't need communication. No.
So so it all comes back around to what you were asking about what makes a great designer. It's the players that make the great designer.
Well, so would you recommend that a new designer starting out join a mod team, create their own levels? What would you say is the best path to becoming a paid designer?
So step one is you follow your passion. So you really want to find a game that you're really passionate about that happens to have tools. They're not, unfortunately, not every game has tools.
Becoming fewer and fewer.
But there are quite a few out there. it's always going to be easier to know the game and know it well when you're very passionate about it. And it's also finding the area of design that you like. Not all areas of design are creative equal. Like there's narrative design, there's scripting, there's level design, there's game design. They all have their little subtleties. At the end of the day, it's all about the player experience though. It doesn't matter what part of a designer you are. If it's not fun, you're to blame.
Yeah.
I mean, you just are. So you have to, when you're starting out, a good thing to do is find those. A mod community is a great one. There's a lot of level design communities out there. I know MapCore was a good forum site for a long time for a lot of useful stuff to get feedback on your maps and things like that. There's a lot of tools, wikis. I know Valve has a very good wiki for Hammer.
Yeah, they do.
And I use that a lot.
And Unreal adds pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just getting proactive in there, going out there, finding the information that's going, making stuff. I can't stress that enough. You have to make things a lot. And you're probably going to make hundreds of things before you finally make a good one. It takes time, but you will eventually get there.
Yeah.
And the minute you get there, it's serendipitous. It feels so good, and the community is going to thank you for it because now they have something that they can enjoy.
Yeah. Great. Well, so let's talk a little bit about what you're working on at Red 5. So you're part of the Chosen Warfront team.
Yeah.
And recently we released a little bit of that Chosen Warfront into the game already, which includes drop pods being more random. They now take over watchtowers. There's give and take. They destroy Sin towers that you have to repair and bring back. What do players have to look forward to in the next patch? What are we trying to do to plus those experiences that are currently in the game?
So a lot of it was exposed in the community feedback that's been given on the forums and through the big playtest. Obviously, there's it's great seeing players get out of Copa and into New Eden doing things rather than like hanging around either waiting for Q or only thumping. Like there's more to the game now than there's ever been.
Yes.
And it's feeling pretty damn good. It's starting to get there. Things are starting to come together. So the next step for the Warfront was improving, and I'll talk a little bit about the language. It's moment-to-moment gameplay. What does that mean? Well, it's like at any given time, if I'm like fighting a Chosen, you look on the micro level of this encounter. Like, how does it feel? How is the Chosen moving? How are they shooting? Is it fun to fight these guys? And right now, it's not as fun as we'd like. We'd like to make it more fun. So step one is like we saw that a little bit when we did that little mini patch a couple days after we released the first one.
Yeah.
And AI performance improved dramatically. Like our programmers made a lot of progress on that.
Yeah.
And we were all very happy to see it because it's almost like a different game between those two patches.
Yeah, AI plays so much into that. Like, how are they moving? Are they rapidly responding to your movements? How is that happening? So that's a constant battle we're fighting.
Yes.
So many creatures in the world.
Right.
The servers have to take care of so many different things.
So I'm going to apologize to the community in advance. Is not a lot of new stuff next patch. What it is it's improvements.
Right.
We need to make sure that we're on track first before we start layering more on top. Yeah. We do have plans for layering, and we started some stuff on the back end to make sure that like the next bigger stuff is happening. But the next patch is mainly going to be some AI improvements, level design, world building stuff around the towers to make it to where they path better. It's easier to navigate.
For AI or for players?
Both.
Okay.
So a lot of that is like looking at the micro level and getting a plan based on I have 45, 50 threads that I'm watching about the Chosen Warfront on the forums, and our team consolidated a lot of that feedback. So our plan of action is get the moment-to-moment gameplay and AI feeling good, then getting more AI types in. So maybe we have Chosen snipers, Chosen biotechs, because the last thing we want to do is turn up the HP a lot on these guys. We don't want them to be bullet sponges. That is the worst way that you can increase difficulty, unless it contextually makes sense, and you're fighting a melding titan or something.
Right.
But if you're fighting a Chosen, and they look and move like a player, they might have roughly the same HP as a player.
Right.
So where the difficulty and the interesting things are just going to come from is AI interaction, and that is something that we're really passionate about, and we want to get into the game, but it's going to take a little time.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. The step one is get what we have working reasonably well. Step two, make it more interesting, and then step three is the fine tuning. So it's
So you did a blog earlier on Chosen Warfront. For those that haven't read it, can you give a kind of brief overview of what is the ultimate goal for Chosen War in Firefall?
Yeah. So you've probably heard me talk about a lot on the blog and then the forums that this is kind of like a behind-the-scenes RTS going on. So what it means is the Chosen and the Accord are at war. And They do want to take over territory. They do want to annihilate each other. So there's a little bit of fight for survival going on here. The RTS element, the Chosen are going to be after resources on the map that the players are after. And in time, that's not going to be an infinite thing.
So I gotta play devil's advocate because we've heard this question before, but why do the Chosen care about the resources out in the bubble rather than in the melding? They have all these other resources that they can get. Why are they resource gathering in them where the players are?
I'm not quite the lore guy, but the so the reason why they're coming at, I would say after these resources, is because these are available. Just because there's not a lot of melding here, the melding over time could alter the resources in some way. And if they need something that's they don't normally have access to either one, deprive the cord of it, or two, use this thing, new resource types that they don't necessarily have available to them in that particular way, they can make new things. So it's in a way like it opens up a lot of potential. Like maybe they can make a cord type things, which then makes them have the tech advantage, right? So, which going back to the RTS thing, tech advantage is a big deal. Knowing what your opponent has and what you have and how that's going to work out, that makes the gameplay really interesting and makes you have to always check on what's going on.
Okay, so they're going to be competing for resources in New Eden.
Yep.
How does that tie into the war? What's going to happen with that?
Sure. Well, step one to having any sort of good plans or good military, good bases is having a good economy. And being able to control an area that might have the highest density of a certain resource, that means they have access to it, you don't. You need to do something about it or adapt.
And that's one thing about our resources is that you can tap out a mining node. So if the Chosen tap it out, players will never get access to it.
Right. Or they have to do something to like either take it away from them if they've already gotten it and it's storing somewhere. Maybe they can go back and fight it.
So the resource will be potentially stored in warehouses or whatever that they can then steal.
If they have yet to use them, that's one idea that we have. Okay. So going into the design is we want things to be zero sum if possible. What zero sum means is if there's a limited global economy there, if the players get it, it's out of the economy and in the players' hands. If the Chosen get it, it's over there. But if they're not using it, it's stockpiled somewhere.
Right.
So if somebody takes it, well, it's there. So the resources don't like appear or vanish out of thin air.
Right.
Like I want to avoid that as much as possible in design and make sure like it's as zero sum as possible to keep the economy in check and keep the gameplay compelling.
Now, with the resources, is it just the players gathering resources for themselves for crafting, or will they be contributing to an overall Accord Warfront economy?
There's a little TBD there.
Yeah.
I think there is going to be a little bit of that. Okay. There's in the future we have plans relating to that kind of stuff.
Right.
I can't really talk about it, but
no, it's fine.
But yeah,
if it's not designed, let's not talk about it. But if it's
no,
if you guys have ideas for it,
oh yes, we do. Okay. The idea is like we want players to, at least from the PvE side, we want players to come together as a faction.
Yeah.
For these wars, like that's what the war is kind of all about, is a fight for survival. And you might not like somebody in your faction, but you got to find a way to like kind of deal with that and fight back the Chosen if you want to like get an advantage over them.
Yeah.
They're always going to be attacking you in certain ways. We have countless amount of war plans that we want to like think about and figure the best ones out to implement them in time. Each war plan has a different strategy. It'll be invading a different place. The objectives are different. Like maybe it's a war plan that's about boosting the Chosen's economy. Maybe it's one about invading Copa. And then maybe it's one about upgrading their guys. Yeah. So through keeping a check on them, you'll figure out which one that is. What are they up to, and then finding a way to stop them, and then take it up, maybe do something that messes that up, so you can then take that war plan, turn it into your advantage, and maybe you upgrade your guys, or maybe you boost your economy. So all these kind of things, it's a very big system, and that's why it's coming together slowly, because we want to make sure we're checking ourselves every step of the way, getting players involved every step of the way to make sure we're going to deliver us in the right way.
Cool. Was there anything that the players should be looking forward to? What's your thing that you're like, can't wait till we get this online?
So the thing that I can't wait until we get online, and it's down the road, so it's kind of like a big carrot on a really big stick, is the community event showed us something very important with the invasion, in that the good thing about it was players coming together against a very big thing, like the big Chosen ship.
Right.
The thing is, it became very clear that two things: one, the performance we need to improve, and two, like there's just some design there that's not as fun as it should be.
Right.
So we're going back, looking at the invasion again, and how we can cater it to fun for 40 plus people, you know, and make it like a really fun experience. So I'm really excited to go back and being like, okay, now we got all this feedback from the community testing and the internal testing that we did this week. Changing the invasion to really knock it out of the park, and getting that big capstone moments of this is war. This is war between the players and the Chosen, and figuring out what the consequences are if you lose. That like a big thing.
So on that, James mentioned during the Firefall Fest that players can lose.
Right.
Have we figured out, because I don't even know, have we figured out what that means?
There's different ideas of what it can mean.
Yeah.
We're still mulling those over, and it also like depends a little bit on tech stuff of what we, depending on how we do server infrastructure and things like that.
Right.
Because that does matter. We have tech that we need to keep in mind as well as we develop.
Right.
But we do want to have consequences for the players not being able to come together and they lose a very important thing to them.
Right.
So there will be repercussions for that.
Awesome. Well, great. I think that covers all my questions for the community, and we'll see what's going on. Chosen War, the stuff that I've seen, because even some of the bugs that you fix for next patch are even pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so right now the Chosen are attacking in the north mostly, and just seeing them actually take over the south, and like I logged in to the design build, and almost everything was taken over. And I'm like, oh my God, where do we go? And there's just Chosen wandering all over the place, taking things out.
Yeah.
And seeing them get into fights with Brontodons and stuff like that is just amazing.
Yes.
Because I've seen a Brontodon take on 45 Chosen and just be like, rah.
Yeah. The
Still
team
dies, unfortunately. Sorry, Punk, but yeah.
The team that I'm blessed to be with on this is amazing. Like I couldn't ask for a better team for the Warfront, and they've been pulling a lot of hours. I know Brian Mallory, real big deal, has been supermanning a lot of this, and really awesome. And basically, I told him take the day off, man. Like, so like he definitely deserved it, and the whole team.
What did he do? Did he go?
Yeah, I guess so. So no, but like they're
Brian.
a bunch of rock stars, and I know like being on that team and getting the players involved, we'll be able to make something really, really good. Awesome. And I can't wait to honestly, I can't wait to come to work on it. But after I PvP for like the first 2 hours of the day, because it's what I do.
Yes, if you want to play against Dragon, he plays every day in the morning. Tries to make sure that he's playing the game and understanding how PvP combat's going. So he's definitely a guy you want to go on there and dominate so that he knows that he can trust your opinion.
Yep.
So find him, see him, play him. Thank you very much, Clancy. I think we're going to bring Tony back on, and you can head back to work and get some of this stuff done.
Suppose I should do that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Get your sweaty ass over here, Tony.
Oh, God. I don't even want to think. Why did you even say that?
Why? Yeah, that's just like a sweaty ass. That's called swamp ass.
If you have swamp ass, that's your problem.
It's terrible.
Do you use your... Well, I'm not even... Never mind. Moving on.
I do not use my sweat rag for my swamp ass.
Just for a quick question, though, how much time do we have, guys?
It is 20 minutes.
We have 20 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
So we had a couple threads pop up on... Hi, Scotty B, who decided to show up randomly.
B.
Anyways, we had some threads show up on the forums that we wanted to talk about.
Yes, one in particular anyway.
One in particular. What is the rundown?
So basically, it's sort of old. It's a couple weeks old, but it's still relevant. A-Stars posted a nice long feedback thread on how do we improve our PvP experience, and he goes over talking about crafted gear and vertical progression within a tier. He talks about segregating the PvE population into 2 separate tiers right now.
And how that segregates and splits the community, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So he doesn't like that idea?
He does not like that idea.
Okay.
He also doesn't like our matchmaking right now. But
matchmaking is one of those things that will always be worked on and tweaked, and the larger the group, the easier it is to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, the big issue being that people would like to see upper and lower limits so that you don't have like the best player like Projectile grouping up with Scotty B. And
it happened. Mabel and Projectile got on a team with Scotty B, and they lost, and they blamed him for it. So,
yeah. So Yeah, they would like to see like
Not all red fibers are great at the game.
Yeah, unlike me.
leaving.
You know, that happened to me on a thread, too. They were like, I said something like, oh, man.
Were you trying to play Firefall on your Xbox? Or?
It wasn't working for some reason. We should really get that looked at. I think something's broken. No, they alluded to the question like I'm renowned for getting owned. And I don't appreciate that. Because I hold my own. I'm okay. I'd like to play somebody. Not Clancy. Kevin Clancy.
Play some of Xeno?
Oh, yeah, much better. Thanks. I sit behind him. We sit right next to each
Real
other.
big deal?
Crisis. You know what?
We can keep
Silly
naming
shoes.
All right, just
FX nerd.
talk about your
Who do
thread.
you want to compete against?
Talk about your thread.
Anyways, moving
Nick
on. Moving on from his renownedness for sucking.
I don't appreciate it.
So like, yeah, a hot topic in this whole thing is how our progression system kind of works now and how progression is working within PvP.
Right. So, well, first of all, let me, before we get into discussing like the actual topic, I do want to say that we're looking at that as well, right? So, a discussion even with Xeno, you talk about sitting over there. I mean, just last night we were standing there talking about how do we fix some of these issues with progression in PvP while also supporting PvE. I mean, one of the big problems Firefall has from a design standpoint, from trying to figure out these issues, is how do we support the players that want PvE content and like that progression, the MMO type player that really wants to see themselves getting better and take on bigger and nastier creatures and see their improvement, while also supporting PvP and to another extent supporting esports, which is even more stringent on the requirements for even level playing field.
Yeah, and we saw basically we got a lot of feedback when we first put in tiers 1 and 2, and the first iteration of tier 2 with the crafting ranges, how they were, and people were like,
oh yeah, we had
people
to
in
nerf
PvP
that pretty heavily.
Yeah,
I'm using nerf in the term that we decreased it,
we brought it more in line.
Not into making it a ball of crap.
Right, we brought it more in line so that people starting out at tier 2 would have a better chance against people that were maxed out in tier 2. But apparently the people are still giving feedback that there's still an issue there.
Yeah.
But we saw that problem, and then when we brought the crafting ranges back in line, our open world players were then unhappy because then they don't feel as powerful. They can't.
Right, which is why we've added some PvE focused abilities in this latest patch, so that people have a little more options. I think the recon rifle is a great example of that. Works great in PvE. Like it's really a lot of fun in PvE to be able to recon now, whereas it kind of sucked before because you had only 4 shots. You had to headshot everything, and you're taking on a thumper. You can't really do much. But now you can actually do a lot. Whereas in PvP, that it's still got some issues that need to be figured out. From my personal opinion, I'm not representing Red 5 right now. I'm giving my personal opinion because before Xeno comes over and be like, "We're not changing that," or I'm just not.
He gets
got in
heated,
his car.
man.
He does get heated.
I love it. I love to see him drop that fire.
Exactly. He's probably getting in his car right now.
He's probably typing on the Twitch channel right now.
So, so I'm taking an A-Star's point, and his position is that PvP should be completely flat and a horizontal progression.
That's what I'm getting out of it.
Completely flat.
Yeah.
Coming from another side of that is definitely a trend that has kind of gone away over time. The completely horizontal flat tiers has changed in FPS. I'm taking a position of just global, not. So before anybody goes like, Phobos doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm talking about gaming in general. The fact that if you look at old school games like Quake, Counter-Strike, Unreal, they were completely horizontal. Everybody was the same, right? You picked up whatever weapons you could find in Team Deathmatch or in Counter-Strike. You bought whatever. Tribes was completely flat. But as modern day shooters, progression has come in, right? And it's added as a carrot to people to keep them playing, because the problem with some of those older games is I played it, okay, I've gotten used to it, I'm done, next thing comes out, I'm just going to move on to it. The time of play, how long people actually play a game, lifetime, has increased quite a bit with these new progression models. So you look at something like Call of Duty, which we talked about, and with the perk system and unlocking these things, that is an unlock. And people will argue that those are just horizontal unlocks, but they're not. Like you actually look at them, it has vertical progression. Obviously, not nearly the amount of vertical progression that an MMO has. Hell, we were just playing WoW the other night, and I got freaking owned by a guy with 340,000 health points, and I have 20,000.
That was hysterical.
Like, what? I can't
The
even
math
touch
sucks
this guy.
right there, yeah.
That's like ridiculous. He one hits me. Anyways, moving on. Back to shooters. Call of Duty has these perks that you can unlock. Battlefield has unlock weapons and things like that. And we were talking on the drive over about Bad Company 2. Just not having Magnum ammo in Bad Company 2 like makes the game kind of suck because you're just getting shot in like 3 bullets and you're dead, and then you go up against a guy, you can unload an entire clip, reload, unload an entire clip, and he's just standing there. It's like,
I hate that.
what the hell? But you get Magnum ammo and he's dead.
Yeah.
So by getting that unlock, you've actually changed the way the game plays.
Right.
Getting the M60 unlock changed the way the game played because now you have something you can actually do a lot of damage. Before they toned it down, but so these modern day shooters have these progression unlocks, and so we have to look at, is that what the community as a whole, all gamers, want? Like, is that good for the industry? Is that bad for the industry? Is it good for shooters? Is it bad for shooters? There's very few shooter games coming out now that don't have some sort of progression in them. Now, I think that when we talk about esports, I'm completely on board with the fact that things need to be even, horizontal completely. No, it's all player choice that determines what you have, and there's no player choice that's better than any other player choice, except for the fact that one might be played better by another person.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as soon as you get into that, like, this is the only way you can play and you have to use these things, they're just going to play with that anyways. So you have to have a completely horizontal progression. But in regular PvP, is that something that's required? I mean, Tony, what do you think? Do you think that in non-esports PvP, in just like pubbing PvP, is progression something that you like?
I like progression, only because I feel like I get rewarded. You know, whereas if I didn't have that progression, then it's like I don't really have anything to work towards, rather than like, you know, getting better stats. You know, like oh, my wins are better than my losses. That's great, but I don't have anything really to show for it other than that. Whereas with progression, I actually get that, and I get to have all these different unlocks or different weapons or different whatever.
I'm glad you mentioned that though, because it's funny because a lot of people do like stats, and that's something that Ace brought up.
Sorry, I was watching Lee, aka Typhon, over there bumping the air. So
Nothing, Typhon. Calm down.
anyways, so you enjoy
I do, but yeah, I digress.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring that up. Ace also mentions his post stats and tracking.
Yeah, that's definitely
like
that adds the carrot, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about progression being the carrot, but for some people, just being on a ranked ladder or having their statistics that they can compare against their friends is enough of a carrot to keep playing.
Yeah.
That's true. I think I could agree with that. That if we didn't have the progression, but we did have like a ladder system where I could be like, I'm number 7 and you're number 8.
You would not be number 7. Let's be honest.
So
7,000 maybe.
You know, you're just the worst kind of person.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of progression for regular PvP, I like it within reason. I like it like sort of like as long as there's just like like upper and lower limits again, where it's just like you can't like be super powerful and I'm like I have nothing.
Right. So nothing of a normal MMO where it's like exponential.
Well, even in a normal MMO, like they bracket you off. So something like that.
Yeah,
it's just
as we've seen, a level 80 doesn't do crap against a level 85.
You wouldn't get bracketed with an 85.
Whatever. Still, I'm not having much fun PvP.
You wouldn't get bracketed with an 85?
No, that was gross.
Okay.
I don't even know what that meant.
That was the.
But just for your point of view on in shooters, what do you think of progression in PvP?
No, I think it's fine within reason. So I think.
What would be like a percentage of difference in a player?
In actual like in armor
damage done, health damage ratio, which isn't a great ratio, I understand, but just I'm trying to get.
So I think that while you want to keep it skill based, you want to make those small. So something like 5% to 10%.
Do you think that's enough of a carrot for somebody? Like, is that
for
enough
someone
to
that
make
cares
you go,
about progression?
Yes, I spent a million hours doing this, and I got 5% higher
Honestly,
health.
for someone that's where progressions they're driving is what drives them, I don't think that's enough. But for people that are like really into the numbers and like really into PvP and skill matters, you're gonna notice those like 1% and 2% differences per upgrade. They're gonna notice them.
I think the more competitive you are, the more you notice those increases.
Absolutely.
But then the less you want those increases, which is interesting. So because the more casual, and I hate they weren't casual, but the more, the less competitive the player that still plays PvP, they're not going to notice those changes as much, right? Because they're not going to notice that I'm doing 0.01% more damage to this guy.
Right.
But they're the ones that want the progression. So in order to meet their needs, while also meeting the needs of the competitive guy, how do we do that? I think that's a discussion we're still having, right?
Yeah,
Like that's the part of the problem. So we are having the same debates in the office, right? We sit down and we have these conversations all the time. How is the tier system working? Is it meeting our needs for both PvE and PvP? Do we need to split PvP and PvE? How does that work? How do we make sure, how does competition work? Do we only care about non-progression in esports level competition? What do we need for esports level competition? Because I think we've already said this multiple times, but what we currently have is not our esports platform, right? TDM is not the esports game type. They're not the maps we're using. They're not esports level maps. We need to work on all these things, and those are things that are happening. But is that the only place that we have to worry about straight horizontal progression? Because is that going to be satisfactory for those players? Because they know that, I don't really care about casual PvP or PvE. I'm just going to play in competition all the time, and I'm going to be using the same stuff all the time, and I'm never going to do it. And that satisfies that group while also giving the other group. Who knows? We don't know. Like that's one of the great things about Red 5 is that we iterate on things. Like, so we put it out to beta, we get ideas back. We've gotten a lot of feedback, including A-Star's thread, and we would love to hear from you guys on what you think. So A-Star's thread is in the PvP feedback?
PvP feedback.
So in PvP feedback forum on the beta forums.
Improving the PvP experience.
Go ahead and talk in that thread so that we can keep it consolidated. But what do you guys think? Is progression required for PvP for you? If not, what would you like to see in place? What is that carrot? Is it just statistics, a ladder? What's the carrot that will keep you playing PvP consistently? What kind of horizontal unlocks, and if you want straight horizontal, what kind of unlocks are you thinking of? Because it can't just be a give and take, because there's too many numbers that we've seen. Like I get the AK-47 versus the M16, and the M16 fires slower, but the AK is less accurate. It doesn't really matter in high-level play because they'll figure out whatever the weakness is and then be able to exploit their benefactors. So what is a real horizontal progression for people? What are side grades? What are these things that people talk about that they would want? Give us some ideas. What do you guys think? But definitely keep that conversation going.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting one, and we have the same conversations.
All the time.
All the time.
Right by my desk.
Yes.
While I'm trying to talk on the
right next to
phone,
Zeno, and Zeno
I'm trying to work, and they're like, "No, we need progression. No, and they're like, I just
watching Netflix
I just
all day?
like swivel around. I'm like, I'm trying to watch Netflix. Okay, guys, I cannot watch my episodes of Doctor Who with you guys screaming. So please. And then I put my headphones back on and just swivel slowly back.
So we had, moving on from that topic, because I think that's a great topic, but that's a huge one. And maybe
It is a big one.
Maybe the next time we can bring on someone to talk about that. But really, if you guys have someone you want us to bring on to the next week's show, let us know. Feel free to let us know in the Twitch channel, or feel free to post it on the forums, and we'll try to get that person some time to come out here and talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. But every week we're going to meet a new dev team member, and we'd be happy to talk about any subject you guys want to talk about. But I think right now I want to highlight some of the fan art that we've seen popping up on the forum. Yeah, I know. It's
pretty
weird.
sweet.
It's weird.
It is pretty sweet.
So what do we have? We have 4 pieces, 3 pieces?
We have 4 pieces.
Okay.
4 pieces. The first 2 are from LubLub.
LubLub?
LubLub.
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 We have the sketched recon. Are we showing that off now? Great.
Sketch recon.
We have the sketch recon.
So this is just a
recon.
sketch that he did on just some
on some paper.
doodles.
Looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once we get set up here, we'll actually have it on the screen.
Yeah.
So we
Well,
can actually
what's the
look.
next?
The next one we have is from the same person. We have the sketched assault.
Okay.
Sketch
Is he planning on like?
All right.
Did he say about cleaning these up and making them into real?
I don't know, but he should.
Yeah, I think so.
They look cool.
You should get on it.
Yeah,
Do
clean
it.
them up and submit them. We'd love to see 'em.
You've got 24 hours. That's a complete lie.
You have as much time as you want. Do whatever you want.
Unlimited hours.
Next, I
Within
believe,
reason.
Next, I believe we have Thumperchan from MIAW.
Oh,
Yes.
so yeah, John Sue started this whole meme of like
That's hilarious.
these characters, which is where I got my hat, by the way, for my Inform avatar.
That's Thumperchan.
Yeah, it's Thumperchan. So this is Thumperchan,
Yeah,
a thumper mix with a little girl
she's cute. She's got a thumper
so-
dress.
I'm sorry, what?
And like drill legs.
and drill legs.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you walk with those drill legs?
She like
You just get
every
stuck
leg.
in the ground.
It's like she's walking in quicksand.
Oh God. Okay. What's the last one?
The last one, I believe, is a pony in an assault battle frame made by Brezals.
Dude, that's
There's a
tight.
lot of bronies out there.
That's tight. I got a big friend of mine who's a big brony, and he just came out to me that way, and I was
He
like,
came out to you.
that's what I call it. Yeah, I was like, oh, you're a brony, and he's like, yeah, I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell anybody. So I decided to talk about it on the live stream. So Ryan Herrera, brony.
I like how you had to say his full name.
Oh, I did.
Who lives at 543?
I don't know his address.
I like how, in regards to Brezal's pony, Brian, who's over there working the shots, mentioned something about the pony not having any
Pants.
its lack of pants disturbs him.
Why do ponies not wear pants? I guess it would be hard to take the pants
They're
off.
ponies. What? What?
But you're wearing a battle frame.
They're show ponies. They don't need pants.
They're magical
proud.
ponies. They're not show
They're just
ponies.
Proud.
Man, if I didn't have to wear pants legally, I wouldn't. I would just walk around. What's up,
Oh, thank God.
Tony? Tony rhymes with brony.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Sure
still
does.
picturing. Yeah, I don't want.
Are you still picturing me with my
No.
pants off? Was that what you were about
I'm
to
trying
say?
to delete the image from my brain.
I just walk around the office. Good morning. Hello, Red 5. All right. How are we doing? Let's talk about progression. I've got some progression this morning. Hello.
Anyway, if you guys do have some fan
That was a
art,
thing. That was a thing.
That just happened.
That just happened.
Yeah.
Live.
you guys do have some stuff you'd
We'll
like
edit
to.
that out and post.
There's no
It's
post.
live stream.
Let me
Frank.
get this out. Shut up. If you guys do have stuff you want to submit to us, send it over to community@red5studios.com. Post it in the fan art forums. We'll take a look there as well. We'd love to see what you guys present, any images, movies, etc. Feel free to let us know. We like showing that stuff off. We really appreciate it. We share it around the office as well.
Yep.
So please continue doing that. Is there anything else we want to talk about on this very first Firefall Live community episode?
First
Number
time.
one.
Woo! Woo! Number one. All right.
It will get better.
Probably not. It'll
No,
probably
it'll
just
get better.
continue to go
We
down.
will continue to promise it will get better. Results may
Next
vary.
week will be better, so tune in. Fridays at 10 a.m.
Fridays
Yeah,
at
next
10.
week. Next week will be better.
So, Fridays at 10, obviously, holidays we're going to take off, but Fridays at 10, we'll be doing this every week.
Oh yeah, for you Europeans, we have Thanksgiving,
Yeah, that's
so that's
But we'll
not
do
next
next week.
weekend,
We'll-
but
we'll
not the
see.
week after. Whatever.
So otherwise, feel free to join us. Be sure to subscribe to both the Twitch channel, click follow, or the YouTube channel if that's where you're watching, youtube.com/stage5.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you guys pay attention.
Plus all the other videos there.
Pay
I'm
attention to us.
digging all the other videos on our stage 5
Yeah, some of
YouTube.
them, they're pretty cool.
The project cosplay.
Yeah.
Before working here, that's the other thing. I didn't know cosplay was a thing, and now I'm like,
You don't even know
Wow.
cosplay was a thing?
I knew people dressed up, but I didn't know that it was such a culture. And
I thought it
so
was
important.
Halloween.
And now, dude, it's like I'm like reborn. I've been baptized in gamer culture, and now I love it. I love it.
How did you get a job here?
You know, my
You
winning
are the
personality.
best bullshitter ever, because I'm like, oh, this guy totally seemed into it. He's so excited about games. And blah,
I am
and-
excited about games. Just because I don't know every single thing doesn't mean I'm not excited about it. Who wouldn't be excited about it? And I'm a really good improviser. Think about it. Okay.
No. Anyways, thank you very much for watching Firefall Live, Fridays at 10.
Woo!
We'll be back later. Enjoy.
Is that a thing now?
Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Beta weekend. Woo!
See you.
Bye.